Imagine a land so remote, so forgotten, that the British Empire used it as a human landfill. A prison without walls, where thieves, rebels, and outcasts were abandoned to survive on their own. Fast forward to today, this same place ranks among the world's top economies. It boasts higher incomes than the UK, Japan, and France, and is a global leader in education, technology, and quality of life. That place is Australia. But how did it rise from chains to prosperity? The answer will surprise you. Stay with me to discover how a penal colony turned into a powerhouse and what your country could learn from it. The story begins in the late 18th century. Britain's prisons were overflowing. After losing the American colonies, the British needed a new dumping ground for their convicts. In 1788, the first fleet of 700 prisoners arrived at Botany Bay, near what is now Sydney. Over the next 80 years, the British Empire deported more than 162,000 people to Australia. But let's be clear, most weren't dangerous criminals. Many were poor people who stole bread, clothes, or chickens to survive. Australia was never meant to be a land of hope. It was a giant outdoor prison controlled by soldiers and run with military discipline. But history, as always, had other plans. When their sentences ended, many convicts stayed. Returning to Britain meant facing poverty and stigma. So they stayed and built a life. They became farmers, craftsmen, and merchants. They built small communities and slowly demanded rights, land, and political participation. A game changer was the land grant system. Even ex-convicts could own land. This created a working class with ambition. Then came 1851. Gold was discovered in Victoria and New South Wales. The gold rush brought immigrants from Europe, Asia, and America. Australia's population exploded, from 400,000 to 1.7 million in just 2 decades. Cities like Melbourne and Sydney boomed, infrastructure expanded, and a market economy began to thrive. From punishment came opportunity. By the early 20th century, Australia was no longer just a British outpost. In 1901, the 6 colonies united to form the Commonwealth of Australia, a democratic federation under the British Crown, but with its own government. And in 1902, Australia became one of the first countries to give women the right to vote, ahead of the UK and the US. From that moment, Australia built strong institutions, invested in education, and promoted rule of law. While countries like Argentina or Ecuador struggled with political instability, Australia thrived with long-term planning and legal certainty. By 1920, Australia had one of the highest GDPs per capita in the world, surpassing some European powers. What made the difference? Institutional stability and economic freedom. Today, Australia has 26 million people, yet it's the world's 13th largest economy. Its GDP per capita exceeds $65,000, higher than France, the UK, and Japan. Compare that with some countries in Latin America. Australia also ranks in the top 10 for human development and transparency. The lesson? Development isn't about resources, it's about governance. What transformed Australia from a prison into an economic leader? 1. Natural resources. Australia's economic rise is partly driven by its vast wealth of natural resources. Today, it stands as one of the world's top exporters of essential commodities such as iron ore, coal, natural gas, and increasingly lithium, a critical mineral for the global energy transition. These exports not only supply key manufacturing hubs like China and Japan, but also generate billions in government revenue, fueling infrastructure development and public services. 2. Education and science. Another key pillar of Australia's success is its world-class education and scientific research. Nearly half of its adult population holds a university degree, making it one of the most educated societies on Earth. Its universities, such as the University of Melbourne and the Australian National University. 3. Smart immigration. Australia has also embraced a proactive and selective immigration policy, attracting highly skilled individuals from all over the world. Today, it is one of the most educated and culturally diverse nations globally, with immigrants contributing significantly to its workforce, innovation, and social fabric. This skilled migration approach ensures that newcomers bring not only labor, but also expertise in fields such as technology, finance, healthcare, and entrepreneurship, helping sustain Australia's long-term economic competitiveness. 4. Economic diversification. Finally, Australia has wisely diversified its economy beyond mining and agriculture. One of the most significant sectors is international education. Australian universities and colleges attract hundreds of thousands of students each year, particularly from Asia, Europe, and the Americas. This sector alone contributes over $40 billion annually to the Australian economy, supporting thousands of jobs and fostering global connections. Australia's diversified services sector also includes tourism, financial services, and creative industries, making its economy more resilient to global commodity price shocks. In fact, it's one of the world's largest destinations for international students, with hundreds of thousands coming from Asia, Europe, and America. Australia consistently ranks in the top 10 on the UN Human Development Index, with a score of 0.958 in 2023, significantly above the global average of 0.744. Life expectancy in Australia is approximately 83.2 years, making it fourth highest among OECD countries, trailing only Japan, Switzerland, and South Korea. In Sydney's northern suburbs, men can expect to live up to 85.5 years, while women in those regions can reach up to 88.2 years. Furthermore, the Australia's healthcare system, Medicare, provides universal access to essential services, contributing to its public health outcomes. Yet disparities persist. Life expectancy in remote Northern Territory areas lags behind, at around 71.9 for men and 75.8 for women. Nonetheless, cities like Melbourne and Sydney are repeatedly ranked among the world's most livable, combining low crime, extensive green spaces, modern infrastructure, and cultural richness. For example, Melbourne was the most livable city for 7 straight years, 2011 to 2017, and in the 2024 EIU ranking, it still placed 4th globally, with Sydney close behind at 7th. On national identity, nearly 20% of Australians are descended from British convicts. Rather than hide this history, Australians embrace it as a narrative of resilience and transformation, a population that rose from penal origins to build a modern, prosperous democracy. Museums, cultural festivals, and public discourse often highlight this journey from hardship to achievement as a core part of the Australian story. Australia's story teaches us something powerful. Your past doesn't define your future. A nation that began as a prison became one of the world's wealthiest democracies. Not through luck, but through smart policies, strong institutions, and a commitment to freedom. If this story surprised you, like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with your friends. Which country should we explore next? Drop your ideas in the comments, and stay tuned for more stories that challenge how we see the world.